Hello and welcome to Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. I'm Becky Parker Geist and I'm your host. Audiobook Connection is your place to learn about the audiobook creative process and for authors to learn valuable tips on producing and marketing your audiobooks. This podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Hello and welcome. We are today in this episode going to focus on discount codes, how you can create them and then leverage them for your audiobook marketing. Let's get right into it. Towards the end of this episode, I'll get a little bit more into where you go in order to be able to implement these kinds of tactics. But let's start with how you would use a discount code and what kinds of discount codes there are. So let's start with what kinds there are. There are a dollar amount, so I'm just going to talk about dollars because that's the currency that I'm working in the United States, but of course you would change it if you were using a different currency. So there would either be a dollar amount, say, for example, $2 off, or a percentage discount, say 10% off or 20% off. So there's two different ways to approach that. Now, if your book goes on sale, and I have other episodes of the podcast that go into how to run a promotion, but let's say that your book is on the sale price. If you have a dollar amount off and your sale price, let's say, is $10, that's the sale price, and maybe normally it's $15. Okay, if you have the $2 off, of course, then it's going to be an $8 sale for the final price for the purchaser. If, however, you do a percentage off, the amount is going to change depending on whether the book is on sale or if you adjust the price at all. So if you have the book on sale and then you offer a percentage discount beyond that, then let's say if it's then the on sale price at $10 and it's 10% off, then of course you get $1 off. If it's a 10% off and it's at its regular price of $15, you'll get $1.50 off. You'll want to make sure that whatever sale price you have, if you're going to do a dollar discount, that you're not going to create a price that in the end you won't be happy with. Here's a scenario where that could be. Let's say you have a children's book and the price is already on the lower side. Let's say it's normally $5 and you decide that you want to put it on sale for half price. So now the sale price is $2.50. If you put out in some other context $2.50 off, thinking about the retail price and not thinking about the sale price, then you'll end up with $0. Now, maybe that's okay, but you just want to be aware because if you want to be able to manage your pricing strategically. The other broader category, the other way that we're going to look at these discount codes is split up into other kinds of distinctions. So these are ways to use a discount code. One of those would be for an event, which could include a holiday, but something that is connected to event or calendar. And the other would be as a group, a code that is specific to a group of people. These can work separately or in concert with each other, but they are handled in different ways in terms of the way that you would leverage these two different types of discount codes. I'm going to start. The first part of the episode will be about how to use a discount code with events. So we'll start there, and then later in the episode, we'll get into how you would use them with groups. So, first of all, events can include, as I mentioned, they can include holidays. For example, you might want to create a special discount code for a holiday. Let's say, like we did Thriller Month. Now, in that case, we treated it as a promotion. So we were doing discount pricing for the promotion, the month of October, for the Thriller audiobooks. And with holidays, that's a good way to handle that. With a discount code, if you chose to do it that way, then as you are promoting the holiday or you're promoting your book in relation to the holiday, then you might offer a discount code for a particular day. Now, let's say, for example, you're a romance writer and you want to do something special around Valentine's Day. You could actually combine a promotion with a discount code. The discount code then has the potential to create an additional urgency while still allowing the promotion, let's say, to run for the week or the month, right? As an example, you could put your book on promotional sale, so it's sale price, for the month of February. But on Valentine's Day itself, or whatever day, maybe it's the day before Valentine's Day, right? Whatever you choose, you could say, get it before Valentine's Day. You might even do it as a way to sort of push that more than one day. But it's up to you how you set up that code when it will expire. So you could create a special code that's like, buy it today and get even more off, right? So that's a way that you can take a holiday and use both your promotional pricing as well as a discount code in combination to create additional leverage to get people to buy now. Okay. There are other things other kinds of events that you may be running, perhaps. If you're running an event, you have a couple different great ways to use discount codes. One would be to provide that code to the attendees. It's sort of a back of the room sale kind of thing. Now, you could create it as a free code if that feels appropriate. You could offer it at a significant discount for those people who have attended, whatever feels like the right fit for you and your audience. Another similar approach, but slightly different, would be if you're running the event, you could use a code or a discount. You don't give it away at the front end, but you could use it as an incentive, a bonus to incentivize people to get signed up for your event. Now, let's say you know of an event. Maybe you know the person who is running an event, or you have some connection with them. Maybe you have some influence with them. Then you could offer to have your audiobook as a discounted audiobook as an incentive for someone else to get people registered to their event. In a situation like that, you might want to license the audiobook for the people who attend that event. And the way that you would implement that licensing agreement might be to use the discount code and then have the event leader, the person putting on the event, pay you for a certain number of codes or a certain number of uses of the same code. You can also adjust that and make an agreement with them saying, for example, depending on how many people actually use the code, then they would pay that, an agreed upon amount for that code. So it's a way to create added value for the event participants and added incentive for the people who are running the event and revenue for you through that kind of licensing agreement. This is basically the kind of approach we took when helping Lance Peedy with his book, A Complete History of the Rugby World Cup, where he had a connection with a charity that was doing a fundraising luncheon and to create an additional incentive package for people to sign up as VIPs, a higher level of contribution to the charity, that they would receive a copy of his audiobook for free. What we did on the Amplify audiobook side, the distribution side, to allow that to happen was he created the discount code and then gave that to the event, the people running the event. And then they were able to utilize that in their special packages for their VIP attendees. Another way you could use a discount code for a group having an event would be, for example, let's say you have a dance company locally that's doing a summer program, and they would like to create some urgency around registering kids for that event, that summer training program. Well, if you were to work out with the teachers, the administration at that ballet training program, that you would provide a discount code, for example, the Once Upon a Dance audiobook, that they would get that free when they register by a certain date, and then the dance company would pay the author for the licensing of that audiobook. So it's basically the same process that I described before, but a different way of thinking about the kinds of groups that you can reach out to. Essentially, what we're trying to do is create scenarios or recognize scenarios in which you can provide added value with your audiobook through the use of these discount codes. As you're looking for these kinds of opportunities or thinking about who could you reach out to, if you're thinking about it from the perspective, from the viewpoint of how can I help this other person, this other group, succeed in their mission that relates to mine, right, as an author, how can I help them succeed with my audiobook product? If your content is related in some way to the event that is going to be happening, then there is probably a way for you to provide some additional value. And so then it comes down to having that conversation about how can I help you achieve your biggest goal and make sure that the agreement that you come to is a win-win situation. Okay, that's a lot to take in. There's a lot to think about. Let's take a short pause, and then we'll come back and talk about how we can use discount codes with groups. Would you like to earn more from your audiobook sales? If you're an author with an audiobook, you may have noticed that royalties from Audible especially, and other platforms as well, are frankly kinda pathetically low, disappointingly low, and unfairly low considering what it cost you in effort and resources to create it. How is it the retailers are the ones making all the money off your work and investment? As someone who started in the audiobook industry in 1981, I've found it frustrating that authors keep getting shortchanged. The good news is that Pro Audio Voices just launched Amplify Audiobooks, a direct sale audiobook platform for authors that puts you back in the driver's seat. Earn 65% of the gross sales price that you set. Compare that to the percentage of the percentage that retailers give. Run promotions on schedule whenever you want. Create coupon codes. Build community with your customers, since you'll know who they are and how to contact them. Work with a caring, responsive, supportive team to help you succeed all along the way. Get help with marketing. Get paid weekly. We're helping audiobook authors who are frustrated by painfully low royalties and the barriers that prevent them from managing their own products and customers. Amplify Audiobooks is a direct sale platform that enables authors to earn much higher royalties and have way more control. We're disrupting the audiobook industry by putting authors first. Get started today at proaudiovoices.app or go to proaudiovoices.com and click on the Distribution Amplify link. Join the movement. Okay, so let's talk about ways that we can leverage a discount code to help our audiobook sales through getting this code out to groups. Here are several different things that you could consider, and hopefully one or more of these you will find inspiring and you can take action on. So the first one is doing a cross-promotion. To cross-promote your books with the books of another author. To make this work, you'll need to develop a friendship, relationship, working relationship at least, with another author who has a similar fan base. So when I say similar, I'm talking about that your content and that other author's content is basically serving essentially the same audience or very similar audience. Book readers and audiobook listeners can be voracious when it comes to wanting more content that they enjoy. And most authors, even very prolific ones, may not be able to or typically can't keep up with the demand of their audiences. So their audiences are looking for more books that are similar. And that can be really helpful to you. It's a smart thing to know who else is writing for an audience like yours. Identifying who those other authors are is a way of potentially opening up these connections. You can reach out to other authors and find out if they're open to doing some cross-promotion. Now, if you have an existing email list that is substantial, if you have an existing social media following on at least one platform that is substantial, that will be helpful. But if you don't, it's not going to preclude you from this at all. It just means that you may not as easily set up a cross-promotion with a really well-known author. So to use a discount code to do a cross-promotion, you would create that discount code based on whatever parameters you and the other author agree upon. And then you can each send out to your list or your following that information so that then, you're doing that cross-promotion. And there's more to that. There's a little bit more sort of edifying in the process that can be really helpful. What I mean is it's really a good idea if, for example, you have read the other author's book, at least one of them, and they have read at least one of your books. So you can honestly recommend the other to your audience. And if you're thinking, well, why would I do that? They're the competition. I want to encourage you to let go of that idea of them as competition and realize that really they are your allies. Other authors writing in our genres can be our very best allies. We're building those audiences together and we're keeping them well-fed. And that's really what we're after here. Okay, other ways to use a discount code with groups. If you have connections with others who are blogging about books or audiobooks or about your content, it doesn't have to always be about books. It can be very specifically about what your audiobook is about, right? Your content. Bloggers benefit from serving their audiences, just like we all do, right? So when you can provide something to a blogger that's going to be of value to their audience, then that's a really good thing. That's a gift that you are giving to the blogger. It's also the blogger's gift to you is helping you spread the word through their blog. A great way to tie this all together nicely would be if the blogger is open to interviewing you or doing a review of your book or audiobook on their blog, and then including that discount code, all the better. Very similar tactic with podcasters. If you're a guest on a podcast, you can similarly offer a discount code that is specific to their audience. There are also groups in other places. For example, social media groups like Facebook groups. There are so many groups out there that are organized around some particular type of content. And if your content fits with that group, then that could be a place where you can post a discount code for that group in particular. Now, you might ask, well, what if someone else sees that code and uses it? Well, wouldn't that be a good thing? Of course it is. So, not to worry about it getting out beyond the group itself. That would actually be a good thing. If people are sharing it, that's a good thing. If you're in a social media group and that's where you want to post it, do make sure to check the rules of the group so you're not violating those rules and potentially getting kicked out of the group. You don't want that to happen. And again, there are groups in all kinds of places. You may be part of, a church group, a community group, a political action group. There are all kinds of groups of parents. Whatever groups you're a part of, those groups are potentially, if the content fits, those are potentially places where you could offer a discount code to the group. Talk with the organizers of the group. Brainstorm. Find the best way that's going to feel like a win-win, a benefit to the group. And then a couple notes about the actual setting up of the discount codes. What I recommend is that for whatever group or event you're going to target, when you create that code, create a separate code for each one. That lets you track most easily which groups are being most effective. So rather than setting up, let's say, 20% off code, and you use it for all different groups, all different placements, different events, then it's harder for you to really identify, well, which ones paid out, which ones were the ones that were successful. And you want to know that because then you can build on your success. If, for example, you were the author of The Road to Tangible Hope, an Ethiopian woman's tale of survival, strength, and inspiration, an audiobook which is available on the Amplify Audiobooks website, you might reach out to the Ethiopian Women's Empowerment Group. That group would probably be a tremendous source of interest, where you would have people who are part of that group would have great interest in this topic and this content. You could create a code that is specific for that group and share it with them. In that way, you give the group itself an incentive, a reason to share it and spread the word, because you're giving them something special for their group. If you're just pitching your audiobook for sale to them at full price, then it gets a little stickier in terms of whether or not they're going to feel comfortable doing that kind of outreach and promotion to their group. That way you give something, they give something, and it's a more balanced relationship, a real win-win. And just to wrap up, if you do not know how or where to set up a discount code for your audiobook, the place to go is Amplify Audiobooks. That's the place, that's the platform where you have this kind of control, where you can set up promotional pricing, where you can set up discount codes. If you're only on Audible, for example, this is not going to be able to apply to you because you're not going to have the ability. You're blocked from that by Audible. Similar to pretty much all retail platforms, you just don't have the direct access or control to be able to manage these. Also, when you're on other platforms, even if you could do a discount code, you're already earning way less than you do on Amplify Audiobooks. So on Amplify Audiobooks, since you're going to earn a higher royalty, when you discount, you're still getting a decent royalty for your audiobook. So get your audiobook on Amplify Audiobooks if it's not there yet, and then you'll have these kinds of controls and will be able to implement this kind of leverage. I hope this has been helpful. If you have questions about Amplify Audiobooks or how to use these kinds of discount codes or what else you can do in your marketing, I hope you'll reach out to us at proaudiovoices.com. We're here for you. We're ready to address questions that you may have. I have been doing monthly free audiobook Q&A sessions where you just come with whatever questions you have about audiobooks, and I am there to address them. The next one coming up is mid-April 2024, and hopefully some of you will join me there. Meanwhile, if you would like to schedule a conversation about your audiobook, either production or these kinds of distribution and marketing questions, you can schedule a call at proaudiovoices.com/get-started. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope this has been helpful. If it has and you'd like to support my work further, you can visit us at patreon.com/audiobook connection podcast. Thanks again. Thanks for joining us for Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. Please take a moment to subscribe at audiobookconnection.com. The podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Learn more at proaudiovoices.com. Again, thanks for being with us, and please join us next week.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.